Well, this is episode 355. Can you believe that, guys? 355 episodes. I know I talk about it periodically, but it's just, it's still mind-boggling.
I now that you like, I don't know. I feel like I just got hit by a tidal wave. 355 weeks we've been doing this, man. A lot. I mean, I've like, not to like make this like, but it's like almost like I've grown up like on this damn. I started doing it. I was like 19. Now I'm like 27. It's pretty crazy, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. Go ahead, Ted.
No, I was just gonna say, and we're still friends.
Yeah, right. Yeah. This didn't tear apart. I mean, not just friends. You guys are family. It didn't tear apart family. But no, yeah, you say that like it's funny when we've shared like old podcasts from way back. Yeah, it's funny to listen to because you're like fresh out of high school, this spunky little college kid. Some of them, like, for me, I think about Wesley. My son wasn't even born, when we started. So like I've had a kid.
Yeah.
Ted wasn't in retirement yet. Ted's in full on retirement. So it's just kind of, we've aged in this podcast.
We certainly have. And it's funny you mentioned about early podcast rather. I just happened to listen to the very first one, not our pilot, but the first official one. And some things don't change because Jared made the statement that his greatest thrill in life is hating the Spartans. And it still kind of fits a little bit. I think you've come a little bit.
Yeah, it's still very true. Ironically, Jace Richardson decided to jump to the NBA today, so that wasn't the worst thing I'd ever read. But yeah, the podcast, dude, it's like dog years. It ages you in dog years. I feel like I've gained like 500 pounds and I've lost all my hair since we started. So
it is funny. Our little, like, anyone watching on YouTube or anyone who has seen some of our graphics or any videos, we have that little caricature, logo. Right. It's the three of us and we got a podcast. Yeah, the one with you. You have a full head of hair. We got it.
I never really noticed that. Now I'm never gonna. That's gonna be the first thing I look at every time I look at that logo. It's an awesome logo. I've always thought that was a classic little logo. I'm glad that we. Yeah, you may be right. Maybe we got tweaked to the bald, but there's something classic about it that almost doesn't got to get changed.
Yeah, I had a dark stash in those days. That's long gone.
They've got to update. I'm starting to get a little gray in my beard, so they've got to update my beard too. So no, it's fun. I mean, I was thinking you said 355. I was like 400. So you do the math quick. 45 weeks. So assuming we're still doing this in 45 weeks, that's less than a year.
Yeah.
So what next? March Madness, around March Madness time, we might be hitting number 400.
Yeah,
kind of wild.
It's hard to believe. I don't know about you guys too. I kind of, especially since I'm retired, I don't have a lot to look forward to. I look forward to this every week. I know we have to juggle schedules to get together, but it's fun. It's fun. We start talking sports and pop culture and entertainment. It's just a cool relief from a lot of other stuff, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, buddy.
I think it's an easy. It's an easy part of, to our credit. We do a little bit of pre-pro, if you want to call it that. We text a little bit. What are we going to talk about? Not a ton though, but we can still sit here and talk for like 2 hours without, we don't have like, Jared, I mean, you guys know, like you do a show, sometimes there's like a whole pre-production meeting where you're going through a whole rundown and what stories, all this.
Right.
We kind of don't do that. A quick little few texts here and there, and then we just let it rip for like 2 hours.
Right. I think we all do our own little homework to make sure we have some names straight and some other stuff straight. But we pretty much just turn the microphone on and go. This is episode 355 of the 3 Point Podcast, and we're presented by Memorial Healthcare's Wellness Center for mobility and pain relief. Contact the Wellness Center on how to get 20% off their flexibility packages. Make sure you follow them on Facebook. We're also brought to you in part by AZee Branding Solutions, Jacobs Insurance Agency, Kori Associates, Real Estate Services, and Nelson House Funeral Homes. And Matt, you were talking about, your guys' real job and some of the pre-production you guys do. I know you had a pretty fun time on the ladies basketball tournament, right?
Yeah, so I got the request to go down to Tampa. The women's Final Four and championship game was down in Tampa. So I went down there. I flew down Thursday. The 2 Final Four games were on Friday, and then the championship game was Sunday afternoon. So I was down there from Thursday until I came back Monday morning. Luckily, it worked out that my wife was off and, able to be with the kids. So that's always a big thing with those requests, making sure we have childcare lined up and everything. And, so that worked out. So yeah, it was cool. I don't get the opportunity a ton because I'm staffed here in Charlotte to do remotes, but when I do, it's definitely a fun experience. We were talking before we started recording, but I mean, Jared, you're down there a lot at Comerica or at Ford Field or wherever, LCA. It's cool being in the environment, fans walking around and the energy, and especially for something like the Final Four and the championship. I mean, you got the 4 best teams in the women's game, and Dawn Staley and Gino Auriemma and Paige Beckers is just a superstar, and just everything going on there. So seeing all the behind the scenes stuff, and even though I've been working in this industry for a while, and we talk about it on this podcast a lot, but sometimes I'm still amazed at how much goes into a production. I mean, the Final Four obviously is a big deal, but still, it's like the amount of moving pieces and the amount of people involved in putting on, a production like that it's insane to think about. You're at home, you flip on the TV, you watch it, and you think like, oh, cool, basketball game on TV. It's like, man, there's people putting weeks and weeks worth of work into putting this event on. But it was really cool. It was a great experience and fun to work.
You're exactly right about like the buzz of an arena. Like, I mean, this is like, I went to a Final Four when I was 11 years old, and I still remember like just the energy in Indianapolis, like walking around. We went to like the mall. We went to like, this is like what kids do. It's like the Hard Rock Cafe in Indianapolis, and even like the Hard Rock, it's like people are buzzing about it, and it's like the energy is palpable. And like you mentioned like how I do that, whatever at work, and it's like you walk around Comerica Park or Little Caesars Arena, and there's maybe 1/100th of the fans that are at like where you're at with the women's Final Four, but you still feel it. So it's like I can only imagine what it's like. You're on the beaches of freaking Tampa Bay, Florida, magical weather. Right. I mean, I know it's a work trip, but I mean, it had to have been a freaking blast, I would imagine.
It was. And yeah, I kind of told you guys, I was hoping Saturday, because no games on Saturday, I was hoping I'd have time to scoot over to Clearwater and see the beach. Because I've never been to Tampa. I've never been to the Gulf of America, Gulf of Mexico, whatever the heck it's called anymore. So I've never seen that. So I was like, oh, cool. Perfect opportunity to head over there, see the water.
Right.
But I was busy. It was a work trip. So I was in the truck all day working, but no, it was like 95 and sunny the whole time. Everyone is walking around in shorts and tank tops and beach. And it's just like, it is palm trees everywhere. And I made a joke to someone I was working with, I was sitting next to, I was like, we were talking about the weather and everything. And I was like, man, where was the Final Four last year for the women? And we're like, oh yeah, it was in Cleveland. Like, why? This is way better. Why would you ever have it in a place like Cleveland? Come to find out, the girl I was talking to, she's from Ohio. So she was like, hey, settle down. But I was like, no, like, why would you ever do this? I would say the same about Detroit. Yeah. I love Detroit, but like, if you happen to get a bad weather weekend for the Final Four, that's just not that fun. Sure. If you get a beautiful weather weekend, okay, cool. But no, always have it somewhere like Tampa. Go to Phoenix. Go to somewhere super.
San Antonio, dude. I mean, San Antonio. What I saw, the Riverwalk, like in it from media members that are there, it sounds like San Antonio is the place, like the best Final Four destination that there is. They'll talk about Houston, how Houston is too spread out. Indianapolis, people always love Indianapolis, but like you mentioned, like the weather could be bad, and that could really throw a wrench and everything. But yeah, Tampa Bay, Florida, man. Right at spring break time. Yeah, ironically.
Yeah.
What did you think of go ahead.
I was just going to say, for the weather, I agree with you to go to places like that. But for my money, I think Indianapolis is it, man, because it's everything's walking distance from everything downtown. When I was looking at the overhead shots of San Antonio, I agree the stadium's very cool. But did you see how stretched out it is, like where the parking area was and the highway going by there?
Man, that's all those old school stadiums. Like, it's like the iconic shot of like these guys. I don't even know what the game is. I think it's Dodger Stadium, where they're standing on like the mountaintop and it's looking out at the baseball field. It's like, it's a sprawling parking lot. It's like everywhere.
Right.
Agreed. I definitely agreed. And that's what's nice about, like Detroit, where, they've made some good changes to kind of try to retroactively fix that. But even ironically, Cleveland is like a great little walking area with those stadiums there. I've worked a couple times in Cleveland, and it is not the best, but also it is kind of in that sense good. But yeah, it's no freaking Tampa Bay. That's for
it was cool being down there because kind of like what you said. I mean, when you're traveling on the company dime, they don't especially for like the Final Four, they don't spare any expense. Right. The hotel I was in was not one I'd probably go in normally with my family or whatever, but you're walking around the lobby and in the elevator and people in South Carolina gear, people in UCLA gear, and everyone's saying like, good luck. And, talking to each other. And I've got my ESPN stuff on. So people are like, asking me like, oh, are you working it? What are you doing? And it's just a fun thing to be. It would have been cool, Ted, if it would have worked out for you to go down there for the Super Bowl. It would have probably been a very similar thing, Right. I know you've been to the Super Bowl, Vegas and everything, but it's a similar. Everyone's a fan. Everyone's talking about the event and all that.
Yeah. I was gonna say that because it sounds just like what the Super Bowl feeling was, with everybody in their jerseys and everybody in a great mood because the game hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. That part. But yeah. So I'll be curious. I mean, because 2027 the Final Four is in Detroit, or 2028?
Yeah,
I think isn't it Indy next year and then Detroit?
Yeah.
Yep. So 27.
Right. Yep.
It's gonna be, dude. I can't wait for that. The Final Four Saturday is it's the best.
It is.
I've never actually been at the Saturday. I've only been at the national championship. But it's funny how like every year the Final Four rolls around and you have these memories when you're a kid, and it's weird how that one day in Indianapolis watching Butler versus Duke, Gordon Hayward almost miracle shot. You remember like everything that happened that day. And there's a lot of, knows what you're doing with your kids now, Matt, or Uncle Ted with your grandkids, where you don't even really think much about it. And I mean, dude, I'm 26 years old now looking back, and it's more vivid than just about any other memory like I have. And it's just the best time of year. And it was a little bit of a dud tournament on the men's side until the Final Four. And then, but what's funny is you watch one shining moment and you go, that was magical. Everything about it was right. So it just, even in a down year, which maybe we did have this year with the tournament, it's still the best.
Yeah, we'll delve into that a little bit more for sure. Also, I just wanted to jump in. Spring break, okay? I've got like 2 phases of spring break, and this is this is an old man thing now. This is what I've fallen into. Spring break number 1. Okay, this last weekend, and this is all good, but it is a new phase of life. Okay. I had a long weekend with my 2 granddaughters in Detroit. My daughter, who's a veterinarian, had a conference out of town in Napa Valley, California. So her and her husband went. So Jessica had to line up the grandparents to babysit. So we had the shift of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then get them off to school on Monday morning. I will say this: it was. Well, let me just say this, and it's a little bit of a diss to myself as a parent, but I will say that I am a superior grandparent to being a parent, if you know what I'm talking about.
It's easier.
You're flying, you're like a relief pitcher, man. You're coming in for 1 inning of relief duty, whereas if you're a parent, you're a starting pitcher all 9 innings, man. So
100%.
Really put your best stuff forward.
Yeah, Matt can relate to this too right now, because when you're a parent, you do your best. You do your best as a father, but you got a lot of responsibilities going on, including work. You miss things, stuff like that, and then you got the stress of everyday life when you're raising kids. But when you have grandkids, it's all fun and games, man. I mean, it wears you out, but I mean, we had Friday. It wasn't on the schedule, but we decided, okay, we're going to go to see a movie. I'll talk about that a little bit in Tedertainment. So we went to we took the girls, they're 4 and 6.
Hold on. Can I guess what movie you saw? Minecraft? Was it the Minecraft movie?
No, it wasn't. It was Snow White. Okay. So I'll give a review on that a little later. So we did that, and then Jessica had lined up on Saturday morning, and Matt, you probably have done this, the Home Depot craft thing, where you go to Home Depot and they have a little kit and you build it. We built planners with the girls, and they got to paint them and all that. So that was fun. Yep. And then on Sunday, they had ice skating lessons at Buffalo Wild Wings Arena there in Troy. I don't know if you know where that's at. Jared, you might. Right, yeah. So they had that. So it was great. We had a really good time. Definitely 2 different personalities on the 2 girls that we have to kind of maneuver around. And having 2 girls that close in age, it can be a little bit of a challenge. We'll just leave it at that. But that's spring break 1. Spring break 2 is coming up mid-month, going out to Washington, D.C., and more time with those 2 granddaughters. So that's my life nowadays, boys. Wow. It's
so This is your recharge time, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
You're taking this time to get some sleep in between the two in between the two duties. Yeah, I mean, it's also easy because when they're you're not letting the grandkids go crazy and just, get in trouble but when they're your kids, you're having to do the discipline and try and teach lessons and all that kind of stuff. When you're grandkids, it's like, oh, you want pizza for breakfast? Yeah, sure. Let's have pizza for breakfast. Who cares? Oh, you want some Oreos right before bed? Sure. Let's have some Oreos before bed. Who cares? But when they're your kids, you got to be like, no, you have to eat fruit and you have to eat all healthy and whatever.
Yeah, you are giving away some of my secrets, so you're right on, and also probably shame on us too. But there had to be a little peace and quiet once in a while, so they probably got a little bit more tablet time than they normally would with their parents. You know what I mean?
Listen, that's needed sometimes. You got to do what you got to do.
I substitute taught, and my God, I was the worst substitute teacher. Like I'm not even kidding you. Like it just was not for me, man. I was so bad, but. There was one time I was subbing at a Wasso and I got all of a sudden I just basically they asked me if I was open. Like I didn't even know what I was subbing for. I walked in and it was like second graders and it was like the troublemaking second graders. And I couldn't keep them under control. I see the iPad cart like in the back. I go, I'm like, finally, dude, I'm like, screw it. You guys can have your iPads. They're all clamoring for the iPads. I give them the iPads and you would have thought they were like Harvard students, like the way they did pilots sat. As soon as the bell was over, put the iPod back and it's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's scary because I'm on my phone all the time. I'm addicted to this thing. We all kind of are. It's scary when you see it like with little kids. Like it really is like a physical draw. It's kind of scary, honestly.
Yeah,
it is.
To put it on a positive spin. I mean, I'm gonna ask this in kind of a funny way, but I do mean it in a good spirit. I mean, you love this grandpa shit. Like you really do. Like is it honestly like it's like it is everything you like thought it would be? Like it's pretty amazing. Like
it really is, Jared. I mean, and I'm not kidding about the fact that if I was going to rate myself as a grandparent, I would say I'm a solid 9 for a grandpa. As a parent, 7 maybe. There were some things there I definitely would redo, but
that's everything in life, man.
Yeah, you look back.
You learn from it.
Absolutely. But I will say this. I mean, all joking aside, it's fun hanging out with them. I'm only going to have so much time left, so I'm going to make the most out of it. And, and I think they really appreciate us too. They seem to anyway. So it's all fun.
Best. Yeah. I mean, Jared, you grew up having time with your grandparents. I did too. I was lucky enough that a couple of mine were around when I was a kid, when we spent so much time with our grandparents. And, you don't think about it when you're the kid that, like what you just laid out, Ted, that your daughter had to go do something. So here come the grandparents to save the day and babysit. But the kids just think it's like a fun weekend with grandma and grandpa, like it's just a good time. And that's looking back. It's like, oh yeah, there were stretches. I went and stayed with my grandparents for like a week during the summer, probably because my parents needed someone to watch the kids, in the summer. But as the kid, you're just like, sweet, I got a week with grandma and grandpa. This is going to be great. I'm going to get juice every day. I'm going to get to eat whatever I want. I'm going to get to stay up late. And one big thing I remember, because growing up out in Corona, out in the country, we didn't have cable or satellite until basically till I was in high school for the most part. We just had basic TV, but my grandparents were in Flint, in the city. So they had cable. Anytime we were over there, we got to watch MTV. We got to watch Nickelodeon. It was like, this is the coolest thing.
It's funny how you brought that up, because I was just thinking how, like, when I would go to my grandma and grandparents, is like, you got to pop. They had always had a root beer. And like, that was like, so it's funny here, like Uncle Ted go, yeah, we went here, we did this, we did that, went to the movies, did that. Like, I'm thinking like, I just cherished that like bottle of Coke. Like, so I can't imagine what these grandkids are thinking, like, go like doing this awesome stuff. So yeah, pretty amazing. It really is.
Yeah. Well, we had lots of fun, but again, all kidding aside, we needed a Monday afternoon and part of today just to recover. We really did. But it's all good.
It's spring break. I mean, you're working around the clock, man, basically.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, listen, we'll keep on moving on here with the podcast. I also want to thank our other great partners that include Rivals Taphouse and Grille, Success Group, Mortgage and Servicing, Shiawassee County Fair, and ALS of Michigan. I'll be right back. We'll have a little bit of prep spotlight next here on 3 Point Podcast. All right, guys, it is the Prep Spotlight presented by the Jacobs Insurance Agency. Local, independent, and trusted. That is so true. A couple of games to report on in baseball. Ovid LC swept, or actually it was Chesapeake sweeping Carrollton 5-2 and 9-1. Brady Sager pitched the first 4 innings of game 1, striking out all 12 batters. Who is he? Derek Skubal or what, man? That's a pretty good start.
Okay, hold on. Say the very first part of the game. You said he pitched all 6 innings and struck out every guy?
He pitched the first 4 innings and struck out all 12 that he faced. Then they brought a reliever in after that.
Oh, come on. You got to let him cook, man. What was the pitch count up there? I'm surprised you didn't have some negative comment about the pitch count in today's baseball.
Well, no, but I will make a comment. In Michigan at this time of year, you don't want to burn out a guy's arm, throwing in this kind of weather. You know what I mean? I could see that.
Amazing, man. And 4 immaculate innings. That's not immaculate, but
pretty much. Chesapeake's got some athletes, man, because in track and field, they won the 12-team Fowlerville invite on Friday. Eric Branchik led the way with a first-place high jump of 6'2". I was going to go down the schedule of some key games this week, but I'll instead move it over to in baseball coming up this Saturday. This is kind of a cool thing. New Lothrop's going to Millington to play in a wooden bat tournament. Oh, yeah. That would be a lot of fun, I think. Matt, did you ever get a chance to swing the wooden bat at all?
Not like in an actual tournament. We would mess around with it sometimes, but those tournaments came around not too long after I graduated. I feel like in the mid 2000s, 2005, 2006, I started hearing some friends like in Lansing, there's a wooden bat tournament. And I guess this one, that would be kind of cool. You realize how you don't have that much power with a wooden bat. That aluminum bat does a lot for you.
So I didn't play baseball in high school. And I mean, just like any sports team, like you just would rib each other about whatever. So I remember like watching, like they're all carrying their baseball bat bags. And I'm like looking at like, there's like wooden bats and they literally are using wooden bats. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Why are you using wooden bats? They're like, dude, well, we just hit better with it. And then it's funny, like Andy Dirks was talking on a Tigers game today. He's like, dude, when you're in a slump, you try any bat. Like he's like, I'm trying Brian Peralta's bat. I'm trying Miguel Cabrera's bat. You try everybody's bat. You know you're really slumping when you decide I'm going to put away the aluminum bat. That's basically a cheat code, and I'm going to pull out the wooden stick that, like you said, Matt, have zero power with. I just always thought that was hilarious. Like kids will overthink things, man. Right. No, there's a reason these are banned. You should be using these damn bat. Like, what do you got a wooden bat in your damn bag for?
Right.
This again is the generation thing, because pretty much my whole life leading up to senior year in baseball was all wooden bats. Senior year in baseball, the aluminum bats just got broke out and they were pretty crude, I mean, they weren't like
amazing.
It was just a hunk of steel, basically.
Pretty much. You didn't have a lot of choices, for me, I was more of a line drive hitter and right field hitter, and I would use and you always went to what was called an autograph bat. So the wooden bat I either used a Jackie Robinson or a Nellie Fox. Now Al Kaline's bat, the Nellie Fox and the Jackie Robinson were thick-handled bats. Okay. Al Kaline was a thin handle that you could really get around and crank it on, but I went with a thick handle.
Okay.
I always love when you talk about your baseball days because you always, in a nonchalant way, describe yourself as like the best baseball player. Basically, you're hitting it to all fields. You're hitting it to right field. You're hitting line drives. What do you guys think of these torpedo bats? Just because you were talking about bats, and honestly, I can't stop thinking about these things. They're so badass. Maybe we talked about them last week. Am I crazy?
We talked about it a little bit last week.
We did. Yeah. No, well, I'm fine with them. Yeah. I mean, anything to juice up the game a little bit, I'm okay with, really. Kids,
they're within the rules too. I mean, it's within the rules, and if anything, like, science is always developing new methods to do everything better. I mean, think about just health and fitness and wellness is better than it was back in the 60s or 70s. So develop a better bat if it's within the rules. Sure.
Absolutely. Also continuing on in prep information, Corunna now is looking for a new basketball coach and phys ed teacher. Chris Mustaine out after a year, from what I understand. I don't have a lot of details, but I think he's just decided he's going back to Lansing Christian. So Corunna looking for a new basketball coach / PE teacher. So if you're interested, better get your resumes in over to the Corunna administration building and their athletic director. Also, I know you guys will comment on this, especially Jared. Finally here in the MHSAA announced the new football division alignments for 25-26. Owasso now is D3, Goodrich D4, Corunna D5, Chesaning, Durant, Ovid, Elsie D6, and New Lothrop back down to D8. So we're going to see a little bit of a switch this year.
Man, I feel bad. I didn't know that Owasso jumped to D3. That's a killer, man. Now you got Mason waiting for you. You got St. John's waiting for you. It's a death sentence, unfortunately. What, man, they really jumped in enrollment that much, huh? The other big thing I saw was Warren De La Salle went back a division to Division 3.
Is that strictly based on enrollment, or is there anything else involved in those divisions?
No, I think it's enrollment. I don't know.
I thought I always heard that Owasso. I thought I heard Owasso was way down in enrollment. Is that not?
Were they D5? Maybe 1 or 2. Am I crazy? Were they D5 at one point? I thought
they were. They were right with Corunna. I know that. And I hope I have my facts straight on that now that we're talking about it.
You usually do. It's pretty
okay.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah. So,
it's funny how the division selection day is almost like a selection Sunday in itself. It's like a lot of these teams, like if you're De La Salle, you're waking up today with a little extra pep in your step. Like let's go win this damn thing.
Oh, probably even I saw some people because I saw the post and we shared it on our social pages. I saw some people then commenting about New Lothrop going down.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't want to have to go down to have a bounce back year,
right?
But that maybe makes them think like, all right, let's build on. They had a down season last year. It's probably an opportunity for them to recharge.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, but Division 7, man, is always tough. So usually Pewamo's there. New Lothrop was there for a long time. Millington last year, I was really impressed with. So yeah, like you said, hopefully they can bounce back and get back to their championship ways.
Is St. Francis usually there?
Go ahead.
I said, is St. Francis usually in that division too? 7?
Yeah, St. Francis usually Division 7 as well. Yep.
Yeah.
So, and then Lumen Christi was for the longest time up until last year, which I got wrong. They jumped up to Division 6 last year. So
right. Well, one good thing to just jump back in on your comment about Owasso, they do have a lot of talent coming back. Yeah. I know I talked to their head coach, and they're expecting to be pretty darn good this year. So they're going to need to be in Division 3 without a doubt.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that is the prep spotlight. Unless you got anything you want to add, any of your nephews, Matt, doing anything this spring?
I have they were on spring break, and then I was busy, and I was actually just earlier today thinking I need to hit them up and be like, all right, where are you at with baseball season? Spring break's over. It's full on baseball season now. So I know, especially Brady, he's a senior at Perry, right. So I know he's ready to have a good senior seaam.
Well,
didn't he have like 2020? Why am I thinking he had like a 2020 season like last year? Yeah, stolen bases, like 20 double. What am I remembering?
Yeah, no, yeah,
something like that.
Doubles and stolen bases. He was up there at one point, top in the state in stolen bases. I think he ended up falling back a little bit, but
yeah.
So yeah, I know he's geared up for. He wants to break the record and stuff with stolen bases.
Baseball's the best, man. I wish I would have kept playing. I really do. It's just a magical sport. I can appreciate it.
The one drawback, I mean, Ted, I mean, you know it too, Jared, but it's just the weather in Michigan can make it tough. If the start of the season you're having to practice in the gym, or you got your double headers getting rained out and like getting rescheduled, or you're out there playing with like a hoodie under your jersey, that's the one bad part. But it is.
Think about Tigers today, dude. I'm not kidding you. I walked to the truck today. I was dying of frigid temperatures. It was like 30 degrees when the first pitch was thrown.
Right.
With wind whipping in Comerica Park. Oh my God, it looked torturous.
Yeah. If there's one sport that's not fun to play in the cold, it's baseball. Yeah. You're just standing out there in the field freezing.
Yeah. I saw a couple comments about the games at Comerica with the Yankees in town, and I think there was one sports writer was saying, they shouldn't schedule the Yankees early in the season in Detroit. Oh, come on, schedule's the schedule. You play what's on the schedule. It is. We'll talk more about the Tigers here in our other portion coming up, but yeah, that's just the way it is. It's going to break soon, and Tigers are playing good right now.
It's also so anyway. Everybody wants to play the goddamn Yankees. Well, it's like everybody's going to the Yankees just take the month of April and May off so you can play them later in the year. It's like, that's not how that works.
Exactly.
So, anyway.
All right. Well, that was the Prep Spotlight presented by Jacobs Insurance Agency. And we'll talk Tigers and we'll talk some college basketball and some Pistons maybe right after this. All right, guys. I mean, Jared, you talked about it a little bit in the open. The tournament was a little bit iffy, maybe leading up to the Final Four. We may have different opinions now, but the Final Four and the championship game, Hey, that's what it's all about. That's as good as I can ever remember for 3 games, man.
Yeah.
I can't get over that Houston game, man. I mean, we could start the Final Four versus Duke Houston game. I mean, we're a couple days removed, but my God, when we were watching that live,
yes,
I mean, we all were thinking that that's the worst loss we've ever seen at that stage. Just an implosion. Houston, just such a cool team. I loved them, man. I was sad when they lost to Florida. Just the perfect culture. I mean, Calvin Sampson, we've all seen the practice video going around on Twitter of how they practice. They practice their balls off like it's a football team. Kind of like what the stories you hear about Michigan State and Izzo back in their prime.
Same kind of coach.
Yeah, it was amazing to see them never quit. The comeback, it took everything falling the perfect way. And it saved the tournament. It really did. But Cooper Flagg, I mean, he's amazing. And you just know that shot, that game, that fall apart, it's going to follow him forever until he wins an NBA championship, really.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was a little bit perturbed of everybody. There was a lot of people that were complaining about the over the back call. Was that the game changer? Not really. It could have gone either way, but I would have probably had to have called that at that point. Right. But it was still going to be their ball anyway, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so it would have been their ball, and I mean
they wouldn't have had 2 free throws, but still.
Yeah. I mean that you were up 6 with 30 seconds left. One foul isn't going to turn that whole game, So I mean it was an absolute collapse, and yeah, I mean Cooper Flagg, he's going to think about that shot probably the rest of his life, because think about a guy like Christian Laettner. He made the big shot for Duke, and he obviously that's his like claim to fame. Or Gordon Hayward, if he would have made that shot for Butler, so yeah, he's going to think about that. He's about to be the number 1 pick in the NBA, Cooper Flagg. So I mean he'll be okay, but if he would have hit that shot, who knows what would have happened. But I mean, it just goes to show that, we talk about all the time. We love the Cinderella stories in March Madness. We want to see the upsets. We want Cinderella stories. 4 number 1 seeds. That was what delivered. Those were the 4 best teams in the Final Four. Yeah, it would have been fun if, say a Michigan or a Michigan State made it or something like that. But no, those were the 4 best teams, and they put on a show. 3 really, really good games. And I think it was Seth Greenberg. It was either him or Sean Farnham on ESPN this morning. They were talking about the transfer portal and NIL. One of them made a really interesting point that, like, yeah, it's kind of crazy to see what's happening with the transfer portal. Like even Michigan, Trey Donaldson in the portal, Michigan State, Holloman in the portal. Like the portal is it's just kind of out of control right now. But it's also allowing some teams to get guys like Walter Clayton goes from Iona into Florida and turns into a legend. Janai Broom, goes from
Morehead State, I believe, right?
Yeah, and obviously turns into maybe potential player of the year at Auburn. So there's good and bad. It's almost like it is a little out of control, but it's also, it's allowing some of these mid-major guys that were, Danny Wolf from Yale going to Michigan and turning into an NBA product. So, it was just interesting to think that, like, it's allowing some of these teams to get a lot of really good players that maybe otherwise wouldn't have gone to a Florida or an Auburn or something like that.
It just goes to show you that things adjust. A lot of people think, oh, this is going to be the end of college sports, but it's just an adjustment period. Could make things better on some fronts, like you talked about. And yeah, it's interesting. You just got to roll with the flow with the new rules.
It's interesting. Like, I was listening to Dan Hurley in an interview today, and he's talking about how, like, he was so impressed with Duke because of their roster construction. It's like it is pro sports now. And it's pro sports with 0 contracts. Every year you're hitting the reset button. Michigan is going to be a totally different team next year. Michigan State's going to be, even though Michigan State retains some of their guys, going to be a totally different team next year.
Yeah,
it sucks. I still love the sport. I still watch it. But it sucks. It makes it for some pretty, star-studded Final Fours like what we saw. But man, you kind of miss those homegrown teams, those homegrown players, and like, what is maybe more like, and it's all the debate. Like, what is more magical, like a Trey Townsend's impact on Oakland University, or Trey Townsend being the 5th starter on Arizona on a Sweet 16 like team this year? Like, I don't know. But he made a bag, and I don't blame him, and it's still very cool. It's weird that where we're heading, and we're heading to where there's no upsets anymore. I mean, I don't think what we saw this year is I think it's gonna be more the norm, honestly.
It probably will be, because you think about, just using the example I threw out there, Yale made the tournament without Danny Wolf. But imagine if Danny Wolf was on that team, they might have been able to pull some upsets. If Walter Clayton would have stayed on Iona, maybe Iona could have been a sleeper team, but nope, he transferred. He goes to Florida, and obviously Florida wins the title. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of leaning more with Ted. I think at some point it will kind of balance itself out. I think some guys will see, yeah, maybe I shouldn't jump in the portal right away because there won't be anywhere to go. So maybe they'll be like, you know what, let me stick around and, stick it out where I'm at or whatever and just kind of play it out. But yeah, I mean, some of the upsets would be cool. Will a team like Oakland, those are the teams that it might be tough,
Yeah.
You're almost going to have to just get lucky one year. And who's the dude that was hitting all those threes, Jack? You're going to have to get lucky with a guy like that. He gets hot and you pull a couple upsets and there you go. But I think it'll even itself out and you'll get some really good games.
Yeah, the sad part to me is the coaching. I mean, the game strategy, that hasn't really changed, but the way you coach these kids now, if they don't like what you're telling them, they're out of there. That's the thing. And that you've always, when you play sports, one thing, it's just like being a parent. You listen to your parent, you respect when they discipline you. You may not right at that moment, but that discipline goes a long way. And I think a lot of these coaches nowadays, it's a whole different world as far as discipline in your team. And if they don't like it, they're gone.
Yeah.
But think about Houston, where, I mean, that's isn't that like, I guess I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth. It still can happen. You just need to have those magical coaches, man, that are willing to coach kids hard.
Yeah.
I feel like you talk to coaches and like, I always feel like the question that I hear coaches get asked all the time is like, how has coaching changed, 20 years ago to now, or like something like that. And I feel like a lot of times, like, they're like, the kids really haven't changed a ton. Obviously the money is a big thing and they have a little bit more leverage, but it's like, they still want to be coached hard. They still want to be better. They still, want to feel a part of a unit. So it's like, that's why I just love what Houston does. I mean, I don't know, honestly, I don't know if I've ever heard Calvin Sampson talk, but just how do you not respect that program? Fun fact that I heard, dude, this is nuts to me. They had not won a tournament game since Phi Slamma Jamma until he became the coach at Houston.
Really?
That's like the early 80s. How is that even possible? Like maybe it's just because of our lifetime, they've had this run lately. And then obviously remember them back in those days. Feels like it's like they've been a powerhouse like my whole life. Like it's just crazy to me. No NCAA tournament wins until this guy got there.
Well, they're the ones Jim Valvano, his legendary team that they beat Houston, right? The tip-in was over Houston. I think that was.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's back 40 years ago now.
That was 83, I think.
Yeah, early mid 80s. So yeah, it is crazy. And it's going to take that. I mean, you guys, especially Ted, you're the Tom Izzo fan. It's going to be, I'll be curious to see when the old school guys like Tom Izzo, even Kelvin Sampson, you could say he's a little more old school, but when they start kind of phasing out kind of where it's going to go, because like Buzz Williams goes and gets a job, and he's kind of bouncing around. And I saw someone saying how like coaches will start to do that more. Stay at a place for 3, 4, 5 years, have a little success. And then when it starts to get a little stale, or when guys start transferring, they'll just bounce and go elsewhere, So, I mean, that kind of already happens a little bit with coaches, but I think the Tom Izzo situation, being at one place for 30, 40 years, I don't know if we're going to see that much anymore. I mean, Dan Hurley was already about to get the Lakers job, so it's like, I don't know if we're going to see that very much. I mean, and speaking of the women's game, you guys were talking about, kind of having to almost basically like pamper the players a little bit. Well, Dawn Staley, she's obviously a little more hard nosed. She's a little more old school, I guess, with her coaching. I remember hearing about this throughout the season, covering it with the SEC network, but she's a sophomore. Malaysia Fulwiley is her name. And she's a stud. She's really good on offense. She's terrible defensively. And Dawn Staley is constantly getting on her. And she got benched a few times in the Final Four, and actually didn't play that much in the title game. And that's what all the reports were, is that she's unhappy and probably going to transfer because she doesn't like the way that Dawn Staley's coaching her. And, that's maybe something I don't know with the Trey Holloman, at Michigan State. Did he not get along with Izzo? Did he not like Izzo's style? Because you would think Holloman, he was going to be a starter, a key player next year for MSU. Is Izzo too tough on him or something like that? You got to wonder. And so that's something, that's probably going to happen.
Yeah, to me, it's like, I think like the Dawn Staley, the funniest video I saw all weekend. It's like the most raw reaction I've ever seen a coach. She's looking, she goes, I don't want to swear on this podcast. She just screams the F word. Like, it's the funniest meme I've ever seen in my life. If you haven't seen it, you got to look it up. I won't do it justice swearing. I think part of it is also like with Trey Holloman, and even just like, I mean, I think about us as Michigan, like the NIL world has made us a lot better of a basketball program. Because, I mean, you think about like Coach Calipari, it's like, I'm just going to go somewhere where they have the biggest pockets, Arkansas. And like, I'm going to be able to build a program on that. So it's crazy to think. Like, I think Holloman, who's got really no NBA future, maybe it's because he's like, I got to cash in on this now. And there's some of these schools that kind of suck. And he already kissed the Spartan logo, so screw it. He's Spartan life. So he probably said, like, screw it, dude. I'm gonna go get $1 million. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he's getting like $1 million. It's nuts what these guys are making, man, for like a mid-tier starter, like maybe 6 man. Like, that's what's tough, and that's why you can't blame these kids. It's like, you're stupid if you don't, really, when you think about it.
Yeah, and going back to your comment, Jared, about these kids like to be coached up, I do agree with that. I think what we're looking at is these one and dones. You know, the coach is going to say, okay, these are my 7 or 8 players that I'm going to play, and I'm coaching them hard. Not that he's not for the other ones, but the other ones just can't take it. So they're gonna say, this isn't for me, I'm moving on. But I do agree though that they can still coach them hard to be successful. But the times have changed.
Well, and like what Matt said, it's like, you know, maybe you coach a player a little harder, and some people don't respond to that.
Right.
I never was if I got berated by a coach, it never, like, I don't know, maybe that's a lot of people, but I always felt like it never, like, I always was hard enough on myself. Like, I felt my confidence was an issue sometimes. Like, whereas if the coach came down on me, it was like, it made me like 10 times worse of a player. Right. I don't know. But then again, sometimes you need to get called. I probably needed those sometimes because I was being a brat or something. I don't know. Right. So I can see how it sometimes doesn't apply to everybody, but
it doesn't. It doesn't.
Well, and I think the great coaches, again, go to Tom Izzo. The great coaches know that. I mean, they can recognize probably guys that they can get in their face and scream at, and then maybe guys that maybe I need to just talk to them a little more than scream at them, you know, and they recognize that. But either way, I mean, I think I saw a report. Who knows if it's verified or, you know, what if it's true, but Michigan might be trying to offer like Danny Wolf $2.5 million to stay at Michigan, which is insane. Like, if that's true, that's as much or maybe more than he'd be getting in the NBA. So that's kind of like what you're saying. You know, it's almost like, geez, like, obviously you don't want to risk injury, you know, but, you know, whatever, anything like that. But it's like, if I can make $2.5 million, come back at Michigan and be the star of a team that might make a run next year. Sure.
And live the college life.
And live the college life.
And be like, how about this? Just dominate on the basketball court. That's fun. That's a little bit more fun than being the 12th man on the NBA team, I think.
Right.
The one point that I thought was a good point about, because I always think of that same thing as well. Like, you can make more money in college than you, like, think about Jace Richardson. The thing with Jace Richardson, though, maybe where it makes sense, not quite monetarily, for him to make the jump now, is the sooner he gets to the league, the sooner he's going to get to that next contract, and then the next contract after that. Where the sooner he's in the league, maybe the more contracts he gets. And those contracts, I mean, even for a bench player in the NBA, $50 million for 3 years. It's like, think about Danny Wolf, like $2.5 million yet in short. Like, so it's kind of a funny little juggling act. Danny Wolf's a good example of, I don't know what the right decision is for him. To me, it makes sense for him to come back, but also, how can you? I mean, if he can just sign on to a 3-year deal in 3 years, he's going to make, 10 times what he's making at Michigan this year. So it's funny. Yeah. It's a weird debate we're talking about with college hoops, but
it is.
One product on the court.
One that popped into my mind. We remember one of our favorite Michigan Wolverines of the Juwan Howard era, Jet Howard. He was a hot topic on this podcast in his 1 year at Michigan. Yeah. And I remember hearing people have that conversation. You know, was he probably ready for the NBA? Probably not. But get in there, get your rookie contract done, and get to that second contract, and you'll be making money. Right now, right now, I say just 4 years, $24 million is his contract right now.
Yeah.
For a college basketball player that we all kind of thought was just all right in college.
Since he's joined the NBA, I haven't heard a word about him. I know he's a Magic guy.
He's a bench. He's a bench player with the Magic. He gets some minutes. You know, he plays, but so that's what I mean. That's his deal. 4 years, $24 million. If he gets through that and improves a little bit, now he'll be onto that $50 million contract. So
it's
crazy.
So a guy like that, and then is it Imani Bates? That was the big sensation that was going to be so great. And now he is playing a little bit with Cleveland, very little, and he's going back and forth between the G League and Cleveland, right? And he was supposed to be the next Magic Johnson.
And he just said in the news this week that he regretted not going to Michigan State because I forgot that he initially committed to Michigan State.
That was a big deal.
And then went to Memphis probably for cash.
Yeah.
Or I'm positive for cash.
Yeah.
Sure. Dude, it's weird. I still look back. That's like one of the weird things like a weird moment I experienced was when I told it on the show before, but when I went to his damn game, his like sophomore year, you literally I had to get a cop escort to get in the goddamn building as a media member because people were trying to get in, just for him to end up being just kind of another guy. And like it's nuts to think about. And then you extrapolate that to like LeBron, what that was like in high school. It must have been mayhem. Absolute mayhem. One question I want to ask you guys: what makes a good tournament in your opinion? Would you rather have a great first round or a great Final Four if you had to pick? Let's say compare last year's tournament where UConn rolled to the title in the Final Four, but those we had a lot of upsets and it was pretty awesome, magical Thursday and Friday. What do you pick? What's your favorite?
Yeah, like we got the cool Oakland over Kentucky last year. You know, you get some of those cool. I'm going to be in the middle. I want a few upsets, but like I'm definitely I want the best teams playing. I want to see Duke, Florida, Auburn in the Final Four. I don't want to see some McNeese State sneak their way to the Elite Eight or Final Four because then they're just going to get their doors blown off by Duke or whatever. Some upsets are cool for sure. Let's get some, some cool upsets and stories. But no, I want to see the best teams play. Chalk.
Yeah, and for me too. Especially it's coming off one of the best Final Four and championship game weekends we've seen in a long time. I mean, there's probably other ones close, but I don't know. It's hard to top this. And I guess my comment would be, I do like the upsets. I love day one and day two of the tournament. Doesn't matter who's playing, just day one and day two. It's like it sets everything up, and then you get to the Final Four, and then you end it all with one shining moment, man. I mean, it's just it doesn't get any better than that, does it?
Yeah. I was wondering in the one shining moment, I was like, I'm not a Michigan State fan, but the Cohen card dunk that everyone we talked about
twice, they showed it twice,
right? I was like, that thing's got to be in there. That has to be in there, and it was. Yep.
Everybody was talking about how like, man, they're gonna have nothing to show in this one shining moment video this year. It's amazing. Like I edit videos. That's what I do. And you watch something like that and you go, wow, I got a long way to go. But what's funny about that is you'll watch some like high schooler edit some video and you go, wow, I got a long way to go. Like what's funny, magical about the one shining moment is how there's no frizzle. Like, man, I think you tweeted something about this. I don't think it was about one shining moment. It was like a tease of some sort. I don't remember what it was. It's like there's no sound effects and no wipes and graphics. It's just, let's just pick the best tight images from this tournament and like let's just put them in a video, and it's like it's more effective than any magical edit you could do to it. Just let these pictures tell the story of a tournament. It's the best video every year.
It is.
That's the dream job, man. As in an editor realm or sports realm, whoever gets, I would love to hear an interview with a guy that puts that together. That's the dream job right there.
Do you think they're piecing it all together leading up to Sunday, and then they have it pretty well wrapped up on the order on Sunday, and then just plug in after the championship game highlights?
Exactly.
Because they do go to a long break after the game before they get to it, so that gives whoever is putting it together finalize it. I'm assuming.
Yeah, get the trophy shots in and the confetti falling. Get those in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's being built throughout the week, and it's probably ready to go, except for the championship stuff, But sometimes that's all you need. You need a good music track, you need some good sound bites, and just great video. You don't have to be all fancy about it.
And
when the song is one shining moment,
exactly,
that's iconic.
Nobody's ever understood the assignment better than Luther Vandross. The song is magical, man. I don't know how to. You hear it, and it's like. There's something about it that like you just like it brings back memories. I don't even think it's just the fact that it's tied to the tournament. It's just you could apply it to any walk of life, man. It's just a perfect song.
Do you guys remember when that wasn't him singing it? They had a couple 2 or 3 year segment.
Like Whitney Houston, or no, it wasn't Whitney Houston. Who was it? It was
another female singer.
Yeah. Who was it? I know this. Anyway, it ruins it. Ironically,
it's got to be one. I mean, and now I think we're at the point where it's one shining moment going forward for the next 100 years or whatever.
Gotta be.
They tried something else.
Jennifer Hudson. Jennifer Hudson. That's who it was.
Yeah. I mean, she's a great singer, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
You nailed it. You don't change perfection, man.
And they
absolutely.
did. And it's not taking a shot at anyone because I know who did it. They basically, after the women's tournament, they did their version of One Shining Moment, and I don't even remember what the music track was. And it was well done. But we're sitting there in the truck watching it, and all I was thinking the whole time was, man, this is not One Shining Moment. Like this is cool. The person that edited it, great job. But I was like, this is just not One Shining Moment. It's just not.
Well, here's a fair point. I think I know there's been some discussions about combining the Final Four of the women and the men together. Why wouldn't they use the same music with the ladies' highlights? I don't understand. It's money, really? Is that it?
I would assume CBS probably owns the rights to that.
Probably right. Yeah.
Or Turner.
I would be down for them combining it. I don't think they ever will. But man, that would be cool.
Yes,
it's already. I don't know how it could be any better, but imagine if they staggered it where it's Friday and Sunday are the girls, and then Saturday and Monday are the boys. It's already a perfect weekend for both girls and boys. But my God, basketball heaven if you combine those two.
It would be cool. I'll say this: we did it with the music thing. I mean, the amount of money and the rights that go into it. We did a thing with Paige Beckers.
Yeah.
But the person I was working with, they did a front end instead of Paige Beckers. They called it the front end said, "I get Paige instead of Beckers buckets. I get Paige buckets." And they wanted to do a play on words with "I got big butts and I cannot lie." So and they were going to try and do that. It was pretty cheesy, but it ended up being kind of cool. But immediately the ESPN music department was like, "Nope. Do not do Sir Mix-a-Lot. We cannot do that." They have like rip-off tracks of every popular. It sounds basically the same thing.
Yeah.
But so to that point, that's probably why I bet Turner, CBS, whoever, they have the rights to One Shining Moment.
They know it's a perfect song. They're not letting go of it. They know it's perfect.
Till it goes into eminent domain or whatever that term is, where you can use it. Yeah. Wow. Well, it was awesome. One final comment on that national championship game. The kid that took that last shot, I mean, I felt so bad for, or didn't take the shot. Because if you look at that, and it's easy to second guess after the fact, but if he'd have just did the head fake and ball pump,
it was going to have
Clayton would have been flying by him, and he still had plenty of time to hit the three, or at least shoot it. Is there anything
worse than those? Like, it's like you're getting ready for that. Like, you just need that shot to be in the air. I don't feel like there's nothing more funny than Duke's last shot where the guy launched it 300 feet over the backboard somehow. But like, you just, that ball, like, it just as a fan, like, imagine you're on the team. I can't imagine how it feels, but like, as a fan, you just, whatever it is, even if it's the worst shot you've ever seen, just get that ball in the air and get it somewhere toward the rim. Give it a chance. It sucks. It was a sad ending to an awesome.
I mean,
it was deflating.
The perfect shot was Kelvin Sampson. As the clock hit, he was just sitting there blank, like, what just happened? He's like, get a shot up. And he even said that in the post game. He was like, it's inexcusable. You have to at least get a shot up.
Okay, what would have been worse? He does that fake, scoops it up, drills it, then they review it and they say, "Oh, he traveled, doesn't count." What would have been worse? Just what happened, or if that would have happened? So that's what I was wondering.
Not getting a shot up.
Replay if he actually did travel and if he couldn't have touched it. That's one thing I would have liked to have seen. I don't think they ever showed it, really.
No, but I don't think he could. I don't think he could have.
No, it wasn't even. What was the rule? I didn't even understand. Like,
I think double dribble. I think it would have been double dribble because he dribbled the ball,
right,
and he couldn't. He can't pick it back up.
He went to shoot it and had to pull it back down because it was going to get swatted.
Right.
So, but he couldn't even just grab it.
No, because either double dribble or travel. It would have either been double dribble or travel. Right.
I mean, Eagle, that's why they get paid the big bucks. He knew it right away, but it was just, I don't know. It was just a bizarre situation. And it just would have been nice to see that ball go in the air. But
I think either way, getting the shot off, traveling, getting blocked by Clayton, anything would have been better than the lasting image being you standing there staring at the ball because you can't touch it. I mean, that's the
3
last
seconds, man. It must have felt like it was torture if you're a Houston fan watching that. Like, because it felt like for a millisecond, like, oh, that other guy can get it and get the shot, and then he hesitated, and then it was over.
Yeah. That poor kid's got to live with that the rest of his life. Boy, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. All right, we'll take one quick little break here and come back, talk a little professional sports right after this. All right, guys, let's try to go kind of quickly through this. The Pistons playing pretty good basketball, even though they lost to the Kings last night, but they're 43-36, solidly in the playoffs. It's just a matter of where they're going to match up. Looks like the Knicks are in the 6th spot right now. So, they got a team that can definitely, make some noise, maybe get by a first round, possibly.
They're on a little bit of a slide right now. It's hard to, I don't know. They just got Cade back from injury. I think they've lost 3 or 4 in a row. I think 3. I don't know, maybe 4. I don't know. I should know that. Yeah. I don't. Anyway, they've been sliding, but part of me wonders if it's because they clinched that playoff spot, and they haven't won since that night. You just got to imagine that human nature, there's some sort of let off where they're going against a team like the Kings that needs every game at this point. So I don't know. I don't want to put too much into it. I think they're maybe just resting, getting ready for the playoffs and what should be an awesome series. New York Knicks is what it's looking like, and I mean, think about it. You're going to watch the Detroit Pistons playing at Madison Square Garden. I mean, that's you talk about sitting on your couch and getting some popcorn. That's NBA playoffs right there. It's going to be amazing, man.
Oh, yeah, and they actually what was kind of weird, the few games that Cade was out, they actually played kind of well. Yeah. They won like 3 games without him. So, he comes back and they've lost 2 in a row, and they play the Knicks, and then they finish with 2 games against the Bucks, who, are a pretty good team in the East. So you kind of got to hope. Just be healthy getting into the playoffs. That's basically the main thing. Whatever happens, you're already in. Just be healthy. You got to have Cade has to be healthy. They're not going to beat the Knicks without Cade. If he's healthy and he's good to go, they 100% can beat the Knicks because Jalen Brunson has been banged up and he's not really healthy. Karl Anthony Towns, I mean, he's good, but he's come up short in the playoffs a lot. They 100% could upset the Knicks if Cade Cunningham is healthy. I don't think they have a shot if Cade isn't healthy.
It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, Detroit hasn't helped themselves with 2 losses, but they played Milwaukee back-to-back to end of the year. Yeah. And it's like going to be, how those musical chairs go with these teams, who they want to match up with, who they don't. I don't know. I'll be curious to see. I don't think anybody wants to see the Bucks, Pacers, Knicks, Pistons included. I think that's the one team those guys are all trying to avoid. So I'll be curious to see how that shakes out down the stretch. But
NBA it has some weird storylines. I mean, I saw today that Denver just got rid of their coach Malone. What is going on? They're 4th in the West.
Yeah, and the Grizzlies were like 4th in the West 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they fired their head coach.
Right.
They've dropped down in the standings. That was weird. Ja Morant is the Grizzlies superstar, basically, and apparently him and that head coach just didn't get along.
Yeah, he's a coach killer.
The Denver. Yeah, that's a little play on words with some of his legal troubles, but
exactly.
The Mike Malone thing with the Nuggets is weird because he won a title with them a couple years ago, and all the reports were him and Jamal Murray. Obviously, Jokic is on the Nuggets; he's a star, but Jamal Murray is right there too. And all the reports were that him and Malone loved each other, but maybe him and Jokic didn't actually see eye to eye. So to fire your coach basically a week before the playoffs start is certainly a choice. And the GM, they fired the GM too, and apparently they had no relationship.
Yeah, apparently they were like passive aggressive, or something, like talking behind each other's backs, and the owner's like, "Dude, you guys are both out," which I get kind of respect. It's bizarre, but it's the NBA, man. And you got Jokic, you got this guy who's got like 40 triple doubles this year, maybe more, maybe a little bit less. Again, I'm not the stat guy. That's not my domain. But dude, you got the best player in the world. You're losing 4 in a row down the stretch. The GM, I mean, man, their big acquisition this offseason was Russell Westbrook, who's actually been decent for them, even though he kind of lost in their last game. You needed to bring in something more. You got Jokic. This guy is a generational talent. You got to go all in every year. I mean, think about LeBron. That's what LeBron understood. Hey, if I got to go to different teams to get them to have this buy-in, I'm going to do it. Push the chips into the table every damn year. You need to when you have guys like that.
Right.
Well, there must have been a lot going on to happen at this time of the year. That just was what boggled my mind.
Very weird. It makes you think that there was a big blow up of some sort. Locker room, plane, I don't know. Right? That's the only way that would have happened.
Right.
Had to be. And moving over to the Red Wings, I happen to have it on the TV. Montreal just scored 2 empty net goals. So they're ahead 4-0 or 4-1. Red Wings not mathematically out of it, but pretty much out of the playoffs again. It's disappointment after that stretch they had. They just never could regroup after that long all-star break they had. They were playing good hockey.
And Kane said at the time, I said it on here before.
Yeah.
Just let's keep playing, man. We just want to keep playing. You're exactly right. It was they've been 2 totally different teams before that break and since. And it's been sad.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the big hockey news, obviously this week, Ovechkin passing Gretzky. That was pretty cool to see. You know, Gordie Howe was there when Gretzky passed him, and now Gretzky was there for this. He did throw a dig at the owner and said they bought me a what do you say, a Rolls Royce when I had the record.
Gretzky said that. Yeah.
It's wild how they did it in basically the exact number of games.
Yes.
You know, to break that record that a lot of people thought would never be broken. The wild thing is, though, like Gretzky still has about 900 points on Ovechkin because of all the assists. Gretzky, I mean, when you look at his stats and how long he played and everything, he doesn't get mentioned very often as far as like the greatest athletes ever, you know, if you go with every sport. But Gretzky, he needs to be up there because when you look at his stats, they're absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
He's a great one. I mean, how he handled that whole thing this weekend, just the man.
Right.
It's just pretty awesome, dude. The best part of that Ovechkin goal, that celebration after the dolphin dive, he's the coolest cat. Like, there's a video of him. Like, first time he ever played golf, he hit a hole in one.
Right,
guys just
unreal.
Have that hit factor, and that's him. He's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. And before we move off the sports, just we got to talk about our Tigers. I mean, they're playing some good baseball right now. 7-4. They beat the Yankees today, 5-0. Scooble looked good after a little bit of a slow start, but you know, it looks like what we saw last year. They're gonna keep it going. It looks like, you know. I mean, I'm feeling pretty confident about this team.
Freaking Torkelson. Yes, man. This is freaking awesome what he's doing. Walk-offs, home run today. They had 3 home runs right back to back today. Pretty amazing.
That was awesome. Yeah.
They weathered that storm at the start of the year with a couple tough teams, West Coast games, and now I think we're seeing that what we saw last year was not a fluke. Like, this team's legit. The pitching's legit. Scooble's looking good. Casey Mize, another great redemption story. So many fun storylines with this team, man. And it's still some players that are injured that are going to come back and provide that boost when we need it mid-season. So, yeah, it's just baseball's the best. It really is.
It's what we've been waiting on. We knew Scooble was going to be good. Okay, yeah, he lost his first 2 starts, but he'll be fine. Flaherty going to be good. Great signing. Yep. But it was all about the 2 number 1 picks that just haven't turned out to be number 1 picks. It was Torkelson and Mize. Yep. And if Torkelson and Mize could turn into the number 1 picks that they were, this was going to be a completely different season. And right now they are. So, you know, right now, yes, it's looking really good. I saw Jake Rogers is on the DL for like 10 days or something. So, like, you know, that's just baseball. You got to hope that there's no major injuries or, you know, nothing crazy. And like you said, like Parker Meadows can come back in a bit, but yeah, right now it's great.
You know, and Hinch, he obviously knows what he's doing, even what he's experimenting with Baez. I mean, seems to be working.
You got to admit it. Baez has been damn good.
I know. Well. They found a spot where he's kind of becoming a utility guy that's playing different positions, and maybe it's lit a spark under him. I don't know.
Magical plays in the field. Has had a couple timely hits. He hasn't had an embarrassing swing on like a pitch way outside or anything, as far as I've seen on Twitter.
Not yet.
Like, I don't know, dude. It's when, you know, it's just, I mean, I say it every podcast. They're rowing the boat, man. They're PJ Fleck and they're rowing the boat. Everybody's together. And when you have teams like that, what else can you ask for? Maybe they're not going to win the World Series because we know baseball is kind of rigged in a way.
Right.
Damn Dodgers, they're freaking amazing. But still, they can still accomplish some pretty cool things, and we know Detroit will obviously get behind them. They will. So.
I got a couple of off-play comments. Number one is there's all this talk about the expensive seats behind home plate, the home plate club. You know, I know it's early in the season, and it's really a bad look watching the game because you're getting it from the center field camera, and there's nobody sitting in those seats, and it seems like, okay, they're priced for corporations to buy those seats and wine and dine people maybe, but you got to have bodies in those seats, don't you? I mean,
right.
it just
I know,
it
but
just
what do
looks
you do?
bad.
It's
I think they went overboard. Detroit's a blue collar town. The price of those seats are, I mean, they're sweet. I mean, it'd be nice to sit in a nice warm seat during a cold game, but the price, I mean, it's like $100,000 for 2 seats for a baseball season.
Yeah, this isn't Yankee Stadium or Dodger Stadium.
Exactly.
Right? Let's settle down a little bit. You're like, have an elite club somewhere, because I think I saw like Tom Izzo was there. Right. He was in there on opening day or something, and there's some other people. But the main thing, and also I've sat behind home plate in at a Whitecaps game, so minor league. I've never sat behind home plate at a major league game. It's not the best viewing experience for a baseball game. It's cool to be right behind home plate. It is cool, but I would put the elite club, maybe up, I don't know, left field or, somewhere like a little nicer viewing experience, and let them spend their money up there, wine and dine them, and fill the seats right there with people who are going to look good on TV. Legit Tigers fans, because right now, like it looks cool, on TV. You can see they kind of fixed it up a little bit, but there's no one sitting there. And that's the first thing you think is like, oh yeah, Tigers, Yankees, and no one is at Comerica Park.
It does look nice, like the backdrop. Like you would think playoff games it will be full. Like how it looks on TV, like it looks like better. Like obviously it doesn't look better because there's nobody in the seats, but in terms of like the actual construction of it, it's an improvement.
It does,
But it's funny how you mentioned like the TV thing. It is so true. I remember I sat behind home plate one time, spring training game, fresh out of COVID, Oakland A's in Arizona. Me, my brother, and my brother's buddy, and my buddy too, our buddy. So we were sitting there behind the home plate, and this was right after COVID happened, so everybody's wearing the mask, and we're wearing masks too. But like we're eating and drinking beer, and this guy comes up, "Hey, get your mask on! You're on TV. You have to wear your mask. You're on TV." And we're like, "Well, dude, we're eating." That was the weird realm when we were in the mask thing.
Right.
So it was like, dude, what do you want us to do? We're like, we're selling beers, we're drinking beers. You can't have your mask on and drink a beer. So
do it through a straw.
That's my one little home plate story. Is the guy was not happy we didn't have our mask on.
Your dad and I, we sat in the front row one game, and we knew the camera was on us, and we're rolling our arms to make sure people back home saw us.
Nice.
What is the rolling of the arms?
It was just so the camera would catch us. We were just being goofballs. That's all.
Yeah.
I saw a video along those lines. Someone he was on his phone, and he's clearly talking to someone back home sitting behind home plate, and he turns on and moons the camera.
I didn't go that far. And I got one other complaint. It's just very minor, but I always thought it was cool that Comerica Park had the keyway or whatever it was called there.
Yeah, agreed. I actually will
the keyhole.
The keyhole.
Yeah.
I know where I guess it is cool. They're listening to the players, and if they want it out, like they take it out. I guess, and apparently the players, I don't know.
That's the word. I don't know if I believe that. I don't even know if I believe the players.
Yeah, I don't. I agreed. I'm not sure if I believe it either. That's what they're saying.
Right.
I don't get it, man. That was iconic. And,
it was unique
for Comerica Park. I mean, for anyone listening that doesn't know, it was the dirt path from home plate up to the pitcher's mound.
Right.
Comerica Park was the last major league stadium to have it, and it was there since Comerica Park opened. So I mean, it was pretty cool. And every other major league stadium has done away with it, but they took it out. So
it was an homage to old school baseball. If you look at old clips of the Yankees back in the day in the 20s and whatever, they always had that on the field. And it was unique to Comerica when they built the stadium. You always knew when you saw the overhead shot, hey, that's Comerica.
Yeah.
That's the one I agree with. People who are bitching about this goddamn scoreboard, like, it's got Comerica Park now instead of the Tigers.
Yeah, who cares?
Who genuinely gives a shit?
Right.
There's a thin line between all. There's 3 different things there that are hot in the Tigers world right now. If you're bitching about the goddamn scoreboard, you're out. You're out in my opinion.
It's the same people who are mad about the overhead shot of Ford Field and the overhead shot of Little Caesars Arena having a huge Ford logo and a huge Little Caesars pizza. It's like, listen, who's paying for the stadium?
Right.
Let them put their logo up there.
Absolutely. All right, let's take one final little break here and have Tedertainment Tonight right after this. All All right, Matt, you might be a little out of this conversation. You've started watching White Lotus. We got to make a little comment on White Lotus. I know there was some controversy that this was not the best season and this and that, but I don't know what Jared thinks, but I thought the season 3 finale, I loved it. I mean, it had a lot of nice surprises. I thought it was well done, and I thought it salvaged the season for me. This season, when I look back on it, I don't think it was that bad, and I think the season finale was fantastic. What do you think, Jared?
Well, are you on season 3 yet, Matt? Or are you still, where are you at?
Halfway through season 2.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't talk a lot of details, but
right.
I can
no, that's all right. There's people out there that probably haven't seen it yet, too.
Yeah, I'll keep it vague. Agreed. I think people are being way too harsh on it. Was it as good as season 1 and 2? No, but when I first watched season 1, I'd never seen anything like that ever in TV. Like it was unlike anything I'd ever seen, man. So now that we've seen it 3 seasons in, like I think maybe if this season had aired where season 1 aired, like I think we would almost view it that same way, where it's like, man, this is unlike anything I've ever seen. This is awesome.
Yes.
It wasn't like with season 1 and season 2, I'm like, I have no notes. It was perfect. That was perfect television. Season 3, there's a few things I would have done differently. What's weird is watching the finale, I was like, that wasn't great. The further away I get from it, the more people that explain things, the more tweets I read explaining this plot, that plot, like making it all come full circle, the more I'm like, that was actually pretty good. I like it. Did that make any sense? Did you feel almost underwhelmed a little bit when it first aired, but then now maybe the further away, the more you understand it, it's better?
I wouldn't use the word underwhelmed. I liked it. I thought it was very solid right as soon as it was over. And then the more I've had a chance to digest it and, like you said, see some of the things, explanations and whatnot, it's even better. So yeah, I would give the season finale a solid 2.9, and the season 3 overall just behind 1 and 2. I mean, it's right there. And by the way, you know how I'm a Howard Stern flunky, right? He had Mike White on for an extended interview today, so if you get a chance to catch that, it's very good.
He's kind of a crazy guy because he was on Survivor, right?
Yes, right.
A very good Survivor player. Like he made it to the final 3. That was like one of the best Survivor. I love Survivor. That was one of the best Survivor seasons. Was when what I don't remember. It had a good little theme to it. I remember like Jocks versus Brain versus Brawn or something like that.
Right.
Whatever. How would you rank the White Lotus seasons? 1 through 3. I'd put 2 number 1. I love 2.
Wow.
2 was classic,
and that the 2 couples, that was magical.
Yeah,
Michael Imperioli. I know you love Michael Imperioli. So
absolutely.
I know you're ranking that way up there.
Yeah.
Season 1, I would put 2. Season 3, I would still put 3. That's how I would rank them.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's funny you say that too, because we went like 5 episodes into season 3, and then I told my wife, I said, I just feel like watching the end of season 2 again to really get caught back up to how this got set up. So I did that, and I would rank it the same way: 2, 1, and 3, but 3 a lot better than a lot of people comments are to me.
I feel like I've seen that season 2 so far. Yeah, we're a few episodes in. I honestly, because season 2 starts off with the bodies washing up on shore or whatever, and that's
right.
the whole, with that show.
Right.
I honestly, at this point, I have no idea how this is going to shake out. Yeah. So, season 1, you had a curveball at the end of season 1, but you could kind of maybe like start filling in some gaps, I guess. Right now in season 2, where we're at, I'm like, I have no idea who these bodies are going to be washing up on shore.
Yeah, it's season 2. What are you, like you say about midway, Matt?
Yeah,
season 2. Each one of those groups, like it's all about like you spend time with each group, whatever. Like in season 3, it's this family. It's Walton Goggins and this girl. It's obviously Greg. It's just funny how they separate. Season 2 had no down parts. Every person they go to was
great.
Electric. Like whereas season 3, like in I don't even know if I should say it because maybe it is. It's not really a spoiler.
Go ahead. Whatever you think.
The Belinda character from season 1 comes back to season 3.
Yep.
That's like not a character I'm entertained by. And her son, that's my one complaint. Her son, oh my God, dude, is so over the top with everything in this series. To me, he was the one I'm like, dude, either recast this guy, rewrite it, something's not working on that character. What did you think of the son?
Yeah, I could see that. I could see where you're coming from with that. It didn't bother me that much, but I see what you're saying. And that whole storyline did come together at the end, and you know a little bit more about it now that you probably read up on it, that where her story started and where it ended up.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Season 2, kind of like what you're saying. Each of these storylines in season 2, I could do a whole season on each couple, or like each little like section.
Yes. Right.
It's the show's good. I'm glad I didn't keep playing the contrarian and just say, no, I'm not watching.
Right.
I'm glad I got into it.
My favorite characters in each season are like the assholes. Like the first season, Plop from The Office, just always pissed him off about the room. Like he's like, I laugh my ass off at that guy every time he's on screen. Season 2, Theo James, like something about him. Like, and I just put myself in, the character Ethan's shoes, where I'm like, what if I had like this super hot, like, my friend, and like we're together on like couples, like we've all been in somewhat situations like that where it's like you're almost jealous of this dude, like he's got it all or whatever, and then he's like, I don't know, trying to go after your girl and all this other crap. But yeah, and then in season 3, Patrick Schwarzenegger, to me, I mean, what did you think, Ted? He's the star from this series. Like that's I think really going to take off. Like great from here on out.
Yeah, great casting. I thought he was excellent in it. I also like Goggins' girlfriend. I thought there was something about her that just intrigued me.
Dynamic,
yeah. And all the acting was really good. So yeah. Well done.
I agree with you though. Very good season. If you're ripping on it, then you're just being a jerk. If you want to say it's not as good as the other two, okay, that's fair. It's still elite television. It's like Game of Thrones, man. It's like you can crap on it compared to other Game of Thrones seasons, but like, it's still way better than anything else on TV right now.
Right. Amen. And I'm going to go back in time a little bit from spring break with the girls. Saw Snow White. Snow White. Disney Snow White.
At the start. Yeah, bring it back.
I'm not sure where's all the controversy coming from. Was it something political or what?
Yeah.
I mean, the movie itself, you know the Snow White story, right? The 7 dwarfs and all that stuff. For an adult going to it, it kept my attention. The dwarfs I thought were awesome. It was well done, and it wasn't a cartoon. It was live people. I don't know how they did the dwarfs, but I mean, it was okay. I don't know where all the negativity came from, to tell you the truth.
I think it is a big political left side, right side type of thing. What's the name of Snow White? Rachel.
Yeah.
Zegler, I think Ziegler or Zegler.
Yeah.
Zegler, yeah.
Yeah, the actress who played Snow White, she came out, she was very vocal about her stance on certain things going on in society and politics today. And obviously she leans one way, and the movie, Disney is a little more left leaning in some of their things. And so the other side of the aisle really hates it for a lot of that stuff. And and obviously it didn't do as well in the box office as they were expecting. So then it turns into a story like that. It didn't do good in the box office because of this stuff. So
is that something that you would take your daughter to go see?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I mean, I would, because she loves Disney movies, and I was going to ask, is it, a kid's movie, or is it a little more adultish? Or
no, my true review on it is it's loud. It's very loud. I think there was a few spots in it that kind of were a little bit slow, but overall, I think Claire would enjoy it. I mean, I know my granddaughters. My daughter thought there's no way that Sloane's going to sit there without having to go to the bathroom or want something from the concession stand. They both sat there the entire time, intrigued with what was going on, because there's music, there's action, and like I said, the dwarves were awesome.
Oh, okay, cool.
The movie theater, it takes every movie up a notch. Like,
yes, it does.
I don't know if it ever really been like, I watch a lot of bad movies in the movie theater, but you always are basically glued to the screen watching. I mean, it really enhances the experience. The only one time, oh man, I've never been more let down than watching Unbroken. Christmas Day, we went to go see it opening day. Christmas Day.
Oh yeah.
Louis Zamperini story, magical military story, man. I like my history. Holy hell, it was bad. There was an asshole that was some 500-pound guy when I was like a middle school kid. I was like just walking and go to the bathroom. He like freaked out about it. Dude, jeez, like didn't let me get around him. So I literally remember making the decision. Dude, I'm just gonna go sit in the lobby the rest of the movie. I don't even give a shit to watch it. It's so bad. I don't even go back in. Just sat out there eating popcorn in the lobby.
I don't think I don't think I ever watched that movie. I read that book, and
it's an amazing book, man.
Yeah, the book was incredible, but I don't think I ever watched the movie. So that's kind of surprising to hear that the movie was that bad.
It's so bad.
It wasn't very good. Angelina Jolie produced it, and I don't know. She may have even directed it. It did not capture the book at all.
Right.
It was more concentrating on the Japanese just beating the hell out of him. There was so many beating scenes, it was just too much.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's not good.
On a more pleasant, right? But it was one of the greatest stories ever that I've ever heard of. It was amazing.
Man.
Yeah. It was a grandpa weekend, right? So Disney Snow White and Disney's Mufasa. Saw that. We watched that at their house.
Yep.
Great movie. I thought it was really well done. Whatever they call this, photorealistically animated. The way that the lions and the animals all look real. I mean, it was really good. So we watched that, and we had to watch The Lion King in the same thing. So,
did you watch the photorealistic Lion King, or did you watch the original? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'd seen the original. The original came out in '94, so this is the first time I saw the reanimated one. They're both really good.
Oh, cool.
Are you ready for the dumbest question of the day? What exactly is Snow White even about? I genuinely couldn't tell you. I know the dwarfs. I know something about her sleeping, I think, and eating an apple. What is it even about?
Yeah, no spoiler alerts here because most people know the Snow White story. I mean, it comes from an 1812 fairy tale by the Brothers Grimm. But anyway, essentially, it's this kind of a prince and his wife, and the princess dies. They have a daughter. The prince remarries, marries this evil queen played by Gal Gadot, and she kind of puts Snow White. Well, she actually exiles her to the forest, and she tells one of her guards to kill her. Well, he couldn't do it, so she ends up finding refuge at the dwarf's house.
Dwarfs, okay.
Yeah, and then and then the story turns around. It's a happy ending.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
that sounds like a good story.
It is.
She eats the apple, and there's some controversy of how do you interpret it, because like she rides off into the golden sunset or something, and some people say that she's actually dead. She's riding off, and so it's one of those things because the prince is also with her at the end, or whatever. But yeah, it's one of those that like if you actually
does what? What's the apple? What is even?
It puts her to sleep. I mean, but that's like the controversy. Like, does it kill her or does it just like knock her out type of thing?
Yeah, the evil queen poisoned her by eating put it in poison, then she ate the apple.
Right. And
then the real prince saved her by giving her a kiss.
It's your classic Disney story, but it's also one of those, like you said, I mean, it's an 1800 fairy tale or whatever that's actually really dark, and like people say it's very dark. Like even the Frozen story, like the novel that Frozen, that series came from, I guess is like super dark, and they Disney-fied it for the Frozen movies, but most of these stories come from not very kid-friendly fairy tales. Like Alice in Wonderland is one of the darkest stories.
I'll never watch that. That's one of those movies that I'm immediately like the Tim Burton thing, other than Nightmare Before Christmas, that's magical. Tim Burton, it immediate turn off. It creeps me out. That whole look, I can't do it.
That's where the rabbit hole came from, right? Going down the rabbit hole.
What'd you say? Who made it? The Brothers Grimm? Is that what you said?
Yeah, Brothers Grimm.
So you can imagine that they're pretty dire stories with that name. That's
with that name.
Workshop.
Yeah, I can't believe I've talked about 3 Disney movies. Heck, we got the expert, Matt Burns, right here with us. Mr. Disney, for God's sakes.
You knocked it out. No,
You've seen them all. You've seen them all, haven't you?
Basically, I have not seen Snow White yet. So so I was curious on your review. If you would have said, nope, do not do it, then, but now I almost kind of want to go see it now.
Yeah, it's definitely okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I don't know if you got anything for entertainment.
Oh, White Lotus, man. That was
White Lotus.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, I know, kind of like what we said last week. And Handmaid's Tale starts Tuesday, I think, this week. And I know Last of Us is in a week or two. And
this week
trying to keep up with 1923. So there's a lot going on right now. NBA playoffs are starting next week. All that. So,
and the weather is breaking.
The lead on this, but I am going Thursday morning, I'm going to Scottsdale for another bachelor party. So
that's right.
So I'll have a review of that. I guess we didn't really get into that.
Who is this? Brother Josh getting married?
Cooper.
No, it's my buddy Cooper. He's getting married. So 12 of us, man. And my brother already is living there in Arizona, so he'll be in the mix. So
is this another one of those, like, Cooper still lives in Michigan, but you're going on one of these remote bachelor party weekends? Is that?
Yeah, I remember you were. So I guess we'll revisit that take you had a few months ago of how you hate the remote bachelor parties. So we'll that's a little teaser next week. But yeah, so that's
okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Looking forward to the report.
What was it? You said bachelor parties back in your day used to just be like going to jumbos and just like ripping shots and.
No, I don't want to go back and I don't want to go back into what I said on that one. No, you watch dirty movies. You watch dirty movies.
Yeah. I knew there was something kind of wild or whatever. But what's it? Is Scottsdale just because it's Arizona, so it's nice and there's a lot to do, or is it something
it's gonna
specific?
Be 95, man. I don't know.
I know because last time you guys went to Waste Management, right?
Dude, my brother lives in Scottsdale, so that's like I usually go there once or twice a year.
Yeah,
right.
We went to the Waste Management Open with 5 or 6 guys, basically a bachelor party, I'd call it, but it was just a vacation.
Oh, okay.
Then I had my brother's bachelor party, which we went because obviously my one brother's already out there. And then I think Cooper just picked it. I mean, it's a popular bachelor party destination.
Yep.
So, and he's a big time golfer. So we're golfing one time.
Nice.
He's golfing a couple times. I'm only playing once, but yeah, golf is a part of it as well.
Nice.
Yeah, I would think so, since is he a club pro? Is that what he is?
Yeah, I actually don't know. He is in Florida working at a golf course right now, so I'm actually not sure the name of it. But I believe he's coming back to Detroit to work at Detroit Golf Club. So pretty cool.
Nice.
Hopefully
By the way,
with some free golf.
By the way, since we're on the topic of golf, Corunna Hills is not going to be around anymore, guys. I'm sure you heard that. They sold it. Yeah, it's 75 years, in the Molnar family, 2 generations. Guess the 3rd generation not picking it up, so they're selling it. It's going to be more than likely a real estate development up there now. And I mean, it's sad to see these golf courses, especially in our area, going by the wayside. Nice property, though.
You're killing me because I could go on for this for 20 minutes.
Is that official, or is it still kind of like?
No, it's official. It's official.
Wow, that's sad because I mean, Corunna Hills. You guys, I mean, Jared, where you grew up, obviously, right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I learned to golf. First league I played in was at Corunna Hills, and then I worked at Chippewa Hills for a summer in college. So obviously, when that went away, it's wild driving by that, and it's just a cornfield now. Basically, that's kind of crazy. So, man, that's going to be Corunna Hills now. Is no more, huh?
Nuts, dude. I got to get one more round there. I mean, I'm not kidding you. I probably played 1,000 golf rounds there, maybe more. I know we all like all of us. Like, I mean, I got memberships there with summer. Like me and my buddies. Like that's what we did all summer. Like the course like the back of your hand. Like I don't like I go to any other course. I need yardages. I need the GPS tracker. I need to read the putts. Like I play Corunna Hills. I buzz through it in like an hour. I know all the nooks and crannies and the reeds, and it's an awesome course. That for 9 holes, like I played 1,000 times and never got bored playing it.
Right.
So it really is sad that it's closing, man.
I was going to say the same thing for a 9-hole course. That was a classic little course there, man. The way they had it laid out and the way the rolling hills in there, and they kept it up well. I mean, it's sad to see it go.
That was a big thing. They kept it up well, at least from what I remember. But hearing you guys say that, they still did. When I used to play there, they kept it up well, and they kept it cheap. That's kind of the shame of it. I mean, Jared, you've talked about it a lot. That golf with the popularity. But it's getting to the point where you can't find these little 9-hole local courses that you can just play for like $30 or, whatever.
Right.
Like you're going to be spending $100 at least, basically, if you want to play a round of golf. And I'd be curious what your friend Cooper, if he's ever played like in the Carolinas area, because a lot of people talk about, like I have some friends that are huge into golf and they're like the Charlotte area and, like Myrtle Beach, Hilton Head, obviously some of the greatest golf courses around. But what people hear, I've kind of fallen off a little bit with golf playing, but it's all private courses around here. There's amazing golf courses all over the place, but they're like all private. And it's just kind of a shame that the nice little local, affordable golf courses, they're kind of just falling off.
I know he's taking a golf trip to Carolina. So I'm just trying to find a couple courses that he's played at quickly.
Yeah. I'm sure if he's a club pro and play, I'm sure he has. Because I mean, a lot of people come here.
And you're right, it's private. That's And that's why it's nice that he's coming back to Detroit so he can give me a membership at the nicest course in Detroit. So,
Perfect.
For totally free.
Well, so by the way, what will be in the area? What, Durand and Perry? What'll be like the best courses?
Dutch, Glenbrier.
Yeah, I understand.
Glenbrier. Dutch
Glenbrier's a nice course.
Very,
it's decent.
Price.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, man. We used to have courses everywhere. That's like weirdly, when you think about it, we were spoiled for golf, for cheap golf. We really were. Byron, Holiday Meadows, Perry, Corona, Owasso Country Club. Maybe you play there a couple times a year, not entirely private. It was tons and tons of Chesaning is a fun course. Now so we've lost like 5 since the time I was like 10 years old. It's crazy, man.
It's a shame.
Which is not because golf is exploding. It's like we need more courses. I don't understand how it's closing. Sucks.
They just want you to wait in line, Jared. That's all. Just wait. But you better get to Corona Hills. I think it's only going to be open another month or so. Then they're going to be closing it down. So get up here and golf.
I definitely need to. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think we made it through. We always say we're going to keep it short, and we never do. That's the way it goes. All right. Want to give special thanks out to Memorial Healthcare's Wellness Center. Make sure for mobility or pain relief, contact the Wellness Center and how to get 20% off flexibility packages. Make sure you follow them on Facebook. Also want to thank our other great partners, AZee Branding Solutions, Jacobs Insurance Agency, Kori Shook and Associates Real Estate Services, Nelson House Funeral Homes, Rivals Taphouse and Grille, Success Group Mortgage and Servicing, Shiawassee County Fair, and ALS of Michigan. Speaking of the Shiawassee County Fair, guys, I got to go pick up my boat on Saturday and get it in the water. It's that time of year again.
That time of year.
Yeah, maybe we'll get you up here for another Tooncast again, Matt. We missed the last one.
I'll be up there this summer. We'll line it up this summer.
All right, sounds good. Peace and love, everybody. Be kind. Go Tigers. We'll talk to you next time.